Have you ever seen a crow do something incredibly smart, like solve a puzzle or use a tool, and thought, wow, that would be an amazing pet? They're brilliant, charismatic, and have this mysterious aura about them. I get it, the temptation is real. But before you start dreaming of having your own Edgar Allan Poe-style raven companion, there's a huge, important detail you need to know. In the United States, keeping a crow as a pet is illegal. And today, we're going to dive deep into why that is. It's not just a random rule, there are some very solid and fascinating reasons behind it. So, the big question, why can't you just scoop up a fledgling and raise it as your own? The primary reason is a major piece of federal legislation called the Migratory Bird Treaty Act of 1918, or MBTA for short. This is a huge deal in the world of wildlife conservation. It was originally passed to stop the rampant hunting of birds for their feathers, which was devastating populations back in the day. The Act provides federal protection to over 1,000 species of migratory birds. And guess who's on that list? Yep, the entire family Corvidae, which includes crows, ravens, jays, and magpies. Under the MBTA, it's illegal for anyone to pursue, hunt, take, capture, kill, or possess any of these protected birds or their parts, nests, or eggs, without a specific permit from the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service. And let me tell you, those permits are incredibly hard to get. They're typically reserved for scientific research, education, or wildlife rehabilitation centers. They are not given out for pet-keeping purposes. So, from a legal standpoint, it's pretty black and white. The law sees crows not as potential pets, but as wild animals that are a vital part of our ecosystem, and it protects them accordingly. The penalties for breaking this law are no joke either. We're talking hefty fines and even potential jail time. Now, let's move beyond the law and talk about the birds themselves. There's a huge ethical component to this. Crows are not domesticated animals. This is a really important distinction. Dogs, cats, and even parrots have been bred by humans for thousands of years. We've selectively bred them for traits that make them suitable companions for us. They are, for the most part, adapted to living with humans. Crows, on the other hand, are wild. They have complex social structures and needs that simply cannot be met in a human home. Think about it. In the wild, a crow lives in a large, extended family group. They have intricate social hierarchies, they communicate with each other using a huge vocabulary of calls, and they work together to find food and defend their territory. They spend their days foraging, exploring, and flying miles and miles. A young crow learns everything it needs to know from its parents and other family members: how to find food, what's dangerous, who's a friend, who's an enemy. Taking a crow out of that environment is essentially robbing it of its entire culture and identity. A human, no matter how well-intentioned, can't be a substitute for a crow family. We can't teach them the subtle social cues they need to survive. We can't provide the constant, complex social interaction they crave. A crow raised alone by a human will often become what's called imprinted. It will see the human as its parent or mate, and it will fail to develop a proper crow identity. This might sound kind of cute, but it's actually a tragedy for the bird. It will be socially inept, unable to interact with other crows, and utterly dependent on a human for its entire life, which, by the way, can be 15 to 20 years or even longer in captivity. And what happens if the person who raised the crow can no longer care for it? This is a really serious problem. An imprinted crow can't just be released back into the wild. It doesn't know how to find its own food. It doesn't understand the dangers, and it will likely be attacked or ostracized by other crows because it doesn't know how to speak crow. It's a death sentence. Wildlife rehabilitation centers are inundated with these kinds of cases. Imprinted birds that are caught between two worlds, unable to survive in either. They are essentially doomed to a life in a cage, often with severe behavioral issues born out of stress and frustration. Let's talk about those behavioral issues. Crows are incredibly intelligent, and with great intelligence comes great potential for, well, chaos. A bored crow is a destructive crow. In a house, they will shred furniture, tear up books, pull keys off your keyboard, and hide your shiny objects. They need constant mental stimulation. You can't just give a crow a squeaky toy and expect it to be happy. They need puzzles, challenges, and things to explore. Providing that level of enrichment 24/7 is a full-time job, and frankly, it's something that most people are not equipped to handle. They are also incredibly loud. Their calls are designed to carry over long distances. Your neighbors will not appreciate a 6 a.m. core session every single day. And their diet is messy. In the wild, they are omnivores, eating everything from insects and worms to carrion and grains. Replicating a truly healthy diet for them in captivity is difficult, and a poor diet can lead to all sorts of health problems. Plus, they are not naturally clean animals. They will splash food and water everywhere and require constant cleanup. It's a far cry from the tidy pet you might be imagining. But what if you find a baby crow that's fallen out of its nest? This is a common scenario, and it's where good intentions can often lead to bad outcomes. Your first instinct might be to rescue it, but in most cases, the best thing you can do is leave it alone. The parents are almost always nearby, watching and waiting for you to leave so they can take care of their baby. Fledglings, young birds that have left the nest, but can't fully fly yet spend a lot of time on the ground. It's a normal part of their development. The parents are still feeding and protecting them. If the bird is in immediate danger, say, in the middle of a road or being stalked by a cat, you can gently move it to a safer spot nearby, like under a bush. The parents will find it. If the bird is visibly injured, has no feathers, or you know for a fact that the parents are gone, the correct course of action is not to take it home. It's to call a licensed wildlife rehabilitator. These are trained professionals who have the permits, the knowledge, and the facilities to care for the bird properly, and give it the best chance of being successfully released back into the wild. You can find your local rehabber by searching online or contacting your state's fish and wildlife agency. So, if you love crows, what can you do? How can you appreciate these amazing birds without breaking the law and harming them? There are so many better ways. You can become a crow watcher in your own backyard. Set up a bird feeder or a bird bath. Put out some unsalted in-shell peanuts. They love those. You can learn to recognize the individual crows in your neighborhood. Crows are known to form relationships with humans who feed them, and they might even start leaving you little gifts, a shiny rock, a bottle cap, a feather. This kind of hands-off interaction is incredibly rewarding and allows the crows to live their wild, free lives. You can also support wildlife conservation efforts. Donate to or volunteer at your local wildlife rehabilitation center. Support organizations that protect bird habitats. Educate your friends and family about why wild animals should stay wild. By doing these things, you are truly helping crows and all wildlife in a way that is respectful and sustainable. To sum it all up, the law, the ethics, and the simple, practical reality of it all point to the same conclusion: crows are magnificent. That they are not pets. The Migratory Bird Treaty Act protects them for a reason. Their complex social and psychological needs can't be met in a human home, and trying to keep one often does far more harm than good, both to the individual bird and to the wild population. The best way to show your love for these intelligent creatures is to admire them from a distance. Learn about their fascinating lives, and do your part to ensure they have a safe, wild place to thrive for generations to come. That's a relationship built on respect, and it's far more beautiful than anything ownership could provide. Thank you so much for watching. If you found this video interesting or helpful, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing for more content about the amazing world of wildlife. Let me know in the comments if you've had any cool experiences with your local crows. Stay curious, and I'll see you in the next video.